Greetings, nosy people. Welcome to another episode of Making Sense Makes Sense, the podcast that's all about demystifying the wonderful world of fragrance. It's your boy, Thomas Dunkley, and I am your host. My mission, as always, is to make sense make sense, which is why this podcast carries that very name. This is a luxurious podcast that comes with a wonderful gift with purchase, a delightful bag filled with deep insights into the fragrance industry, luscious interviews, the occasional swear word, and lots of witty banter. Today's episode is an unusual one. I am taking Making Sense Make Sense on the road to Barnes Fragrance Fair in London. Organised by the incomparable journalist and trend reporter and one half of the Instagram account We Wear Perfume, Amanda Carr, Barnes Fragrance Fair is an annual fragrance gathering of indie fragrance brands in the picturesque village of Barnes. There's a hall filled with beautiful fragrance brands showcasing and selling their scents, as well as a full roster of talks and workshops. Actually, rather than me tell you all about it, I really should bring in Amanda herself to tell you about Barnes, because she's the lady behind it, so who knows it better than Amanda? So let's do that. Yeah, that's a better idea. Let's get Amanda to tell you about it. I'll come back and then tell you all about the on-the-spot interviews I've gathered. All right? We all in agreement? I'm going to be quiet now. Okay, good. But before we get Amanda in, I'm going to do my bit that I always do, which is you'll notice that I don't have adverts or sponsors for season 1 of this podcast, which means that you get a nice uninterrupted listen. I do, however, have a tipping service. If you'd like to support me and the running costs of the podcast, you can do that by going to coffee.com/making sense make sense. That's ko-fi.com/making sense make sense. A handful of you have already supported me, and I just want to thank you for doing so. It means a lot. It really helps me with all of the logistics and the running costs of the podcast, which do add up. And it's nice to see that it's resonating with people and that they want to help out. So thank you from the bottom of my cold, gay heart. Okay, that's all of the dull stuff out of the way. I promised you Amanda Carr. I'm giving you Amanda Carr. So Amanda, you've created something really unique with Barnes Fragrance Fair. I'm really curious, where did the idea come from?
I'm in this events business totally accidentally, Thomas. I had no intention ever of doing anything like this. I never had any desire to do any sort of fair or events. I'm a journalist and a trend forecaster, so that's not my area. But my friend who organises Bookfest here in Barnes said to me one day, you really should do a fragrance fair, this would be a really good idea. And I know that Pia and Nick had an idea about doing the fragrance fair way before COVID. So I sort of, it was there in my head. I thought, well, probably would work. So we did it. We did the first year. I'd sort of checked with Pia and Nick to make sure they were okay. I was sort of nicking what had originally been their idea, and they seemed very enthusiastic. So we did the first year really as an experiment. I knew all the brands, as you do. We know all the up-and-coming and really good fragrance brands in the UK. And I was definitely aware that there was this fantastic undercurrent of British perfumers doing wonderful things and they weren't getting any shelf space, because obviously it was really hard to get shelf space in a beauty hall or in any sort of big chemists or whatever in the UK. We're not set up for it. So it just seemed like let's give it a go. And even if nobody had turned up on the first year, I knew that all the brands and all the journalists who were there, we'd all have a lovely time, because, it's a very friendly group and a very supportive group. So we would have all had a lovely day. But anyway, people did turn up and it kind of worked. So I thought, well, we'll just keep going and see how long this lasts.
Yeah, your accidental events business has kept going now for 3 years. And you talked about a little bit about the brands that you're featuring. So part of it is about celebrating indie brands.
Totally.
Why is it you wanted to shine a spotlight on independent brands specifically?
I really like the vibe. I think that the fragrance industry is a super exciting place to be. But it definitely divides into the established mainframe brands that we've all heard of and have a particular way of working and do their thing in the beauty halls and in Boots and other sort of high street retailers. But the evolution of this sort of niche world is so fascinating and so creative. And the fact that the Brits are doing it so well, over the period I've been writing about fragrance, I've met so many really great English brands, British brands, Scottish, Welsh, and whatever else brands as well. But it seems like there's a lot of them in the UK, and they're doing good work, really interesting, creative fragrances. So I kind of felt I thought that's where the interesting work was happening for a start, because they were playing with fragrance profiles, they were doing interesting combinations of ingredients, and pushing the envelope as far as cool smells were concerned, and they were doing it beautifully. So it just felt like a no-brainer, really, to me. These guys didn't have the shelf space; they were keen to get involved, so it just kind of happened.
You're right. There's a real indie scene here in the UK, which I think is really unique. When we're looking at other fragrance sort of festivals and things like that, I mean, Europe obviously has loads of big trade shows for fragrance. There's Pitti and Essence, but those and they obviously have a public element. Some of them have public days where the public can go and smell things, and not just for the industry. But they're Goliaths, and they are really chaotic affairs. Did you sort of think about those when you were creating Barnes? Did you set out to create a less chaotic, more accessible alternative?
Yes, absolutely. I love going to Pitti. It's a terrific fair, but it's it's not just consumer orientated. It is very much a trade fair. So it's set up for as many brands as possible being squished into the space, much like Essence, which I have to say I'm not a big fan of now. I love going and seeing people, but it's quite an overwhelming experience. So I wanted something that was completely consumer facing, that didn't talk about trade, but it was all about making a lovely immersive experience for the consumer, so that we could really show that fragrance wasn't just about getting spritzed by somebody in a beauty hall, but it was a really fun, beautiful, immersive, transportative way we were creating this sort of atmosphere where you could be given a whole new experience about fragrance. And I felt that if we kept it small, we kept all the brand founders. I'm quite strict that the brand founders must be there, because it's exciting to meet a brand founder and perhaps to have a chat to them and maybe get them to pick your fragrance for you. It's a really exciting sort of mini celebrity experience, and I wanted to keep it fun and immersive. And we are a little bit sort of village hall-y. We're not at all glamorous, but I think it's got a charm, and I think it makes fragrance accessible. People aren't intimidated. They're not frightened about talking to people because it's quite low-key and not at all, sort of shiny and scary. And I think that really helps. I think people like the fact that they're on the same level, chatting to all sorts of different people in the hall. And it's just that some of those people are incredibly successful brand founders, and it makes it much more of a family affair, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think perfumery can just so often be so intimidating, can't it? And so exclusionary and so exclusive. So it's really nice to have an environment where the whole idea is just about making it organic and easy.
Yeah, really, it's really important. And I don't know how far this journey will go with Barnes Fragrance Fair, but I really want to keep it like a very sort of enjoyable destination day where everyone can really feel they're going to perhaps learn something from one of the talks and the workshops, because we've got some great people talking this year. Perhaps pick up, a new fragrance for themselves, and then maybe have a nice cup of tea or wander around the pond. Barnes is very pretty, so it makes the whole day a lot more interesting than just hanging around duty free or whatever it is and picking up your fragrance. It makes it a much bigger, more enjoyable event.
Absolutely. And you've got some great brands this year, Ostens, Angela Flanders, Wells Perfumery,
Yep.
Eau de Bougie. I keep going, could go on forever.
25 wonderful brands.
25. That's amazing.
Yes.
And how are you selecting those brands? How are you maybe not selecting, but reaching out or curating, I suppose is a better word.
Yes, I'm absolutely curating them. And it's one of the hardest things to do because there are many more than 25 brands that I would like to include. But we're limited with space. And it is very hard to say no to people. There are lots of really terrific brands I'd like to include. We need to try and work out how we're going to do that going forward, because if we do continue to be successful and people still turn up this year, then I've got to figure out a way of doing it. But it is my edit, so you can't just apply and automatically get a table. I need to know. I need to have a relationship with the perfumer. I need to like the fragrances. I need to think that they're different and interesting, and they need to sort of pass the style test as well. Are they fragrances that are sort of doing different things? So yeah, my edit is, I guess, the sort of handwriting of the fair, maybe that would be fair to say. So yeah, I hope it'll never get to the stage where anyone can apply. I mean, that sounds very non-inclusive. I don't mean to be mean, but I do want, if people are making the effort to come and look at these fragrances and come to the fair, I want their day to be worth it. So I want them to come and find really interesting, really different, really under the radar brands that they might not have found anywhere else.
Yeah, and I suppose that's the thing. I know I mentioned trade shows earlier, but this isn't a trade show. It's a fragrance fair, and you're almost curating an experience in a way for the people that are visiting. So it makes a lot more sense to be ensuring that you don't have a huge amount of repetition amongst your brands, because you go to a trade show, I've been to them, you walk around and you smell the same thing at 6 different stands, and this is about actually giving people unique experiences.
Yeah, and I think going forward for the consumer going forward wants something really different and interesting. They don't want the same as everybody else, particularly Gen Z and millennials who want to impart their identity in new ways and describe their personalities in new ways. So fragrance is forming a big part of that for them. And so I want them to be able to find really, curiously fabulous fragrances that are not around elsewhere.
And one thing you touched on a few minutes ago was that you talked about the talks and workshops, because obviously Barnes isn't just about the hall with all of the fragrance brands showcasing their perfumes, but you do have a whole roster of fantastic talks and workshops. Can you tell me a bit about what we have for Barnes 2025 in terms of talks and workshops?
Yes, so we've got new space this year. We're in the Methodist Church across from the pond, so that's a better setup because it's closer. And we've divided it into talks and workshops. So perfumer Sarah McCartney does her sellout fragrance making workshops, which we've done for the last 2 years, and they always sell out very fast. And then this year we've got the famous Roger Dove, who has been kind enough to come and do his ingredients workshop. Now, I know that you will have done this, Thomas, at some point. He's a fantastic teacher, Roger, and shares his ingredients experience very generously. So that's, I think, going to be one of the highlights of the workshops. And we've also got LMR Naturals, who are like the Rolls Royce of the naturals producing world. They belong to a company called IFF, and they're coming to do a rose workshop where they're going to show their beautiful natural rose oils in all their different capacities. And that, I think, will be fantastic. And that's hosted by Jo Fairley. So she's always good to listen to because she knows so much. And then the talks upstairs are just listening talks. So you can come and listen to Sally Hughes being interviewed by Alistair Park. And that will be really interesting because Sally's a fascinating. Her life story in fragrance is, I think, going to be fascinating. So that's going to be a good one. Alice and Susie do a roundup of all the brands. It's a useful one to go to, actually. They do highlights of the brands within the fair. Because although 25 is too many brands to look at, some people might be a bit overwhelmed. So Susie and Alice talk through their favourites, and so that'll be a good one to go to start with, and then you can go back to the fair and have a little sniff of all their favourites. And Hayden's doing a men's smell, which I think would be really good.
Yeah.
He's got a terrific panel. He's got TJ Talk Sense, who's sort of like a superstar in the fragrance world, and they're going to be talking about the rise in teenage boys and men getting interested in fragrance again, which is a fascinating trend. And I think we're slightly ahead of the curve with this one. I think it'll be a really fascinating talk.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really, really interesting. So there's a bit of something for everyone.
Yes. Sorry, I mustn't forget this one because my husband does it with Hayden. Roger and Hayden are doing a scent and song at the Olympic Studios. So the Olympic Studios is originally where Rolling Stones and loads of fantastic brands recorded their music. And Roger is the archivist there, and he and Hayden pair a fragrance with a song, and you listen to it in the studio or in the old studio space through a fantastic soundtrack. It's a sort of it's a cinema now, but it's got a great sound system, and that's quite an exciting experience because you can smell and listen at the same time. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, that sounds really, really fascinating. So lots of sensory experiences.
Yes,
well, I know so. I'm pretty sure it will be. So this is your third year for Barnes. How has it changed since that very first one where you accidentally created Fragrance Fair to now when you're quite intently doing it?
I think the expectations are higher now. So for me, the first year was, even though it was stressful doing it, there were no expectations. So if it was a disaster, we'd have all just had a lovely time, chatted to each other, and then gone home. But now, year 2 went really well, and the reputation for it is sort of getting higher, and people. I think more people are coming. So now everyone goes, "Oh, we can't wait to come! I've heard amazing things about it." And you're like, "Oh my goodness, is it going to be as good?" So that's for me. That's the biggest stress, is sort of learning how to cope with that expectation.
Yeah.
And I think we've got a few more. We've managed to squeeze a few more brands in this year. I'm trying to bring interesting fragrant product in as well. So we've got a really cool guy called Milo Pinckney who's got a brand called Roller. Now it's a deodorant, but don't switch off because it's a deodorant with a very luxury fragrance feel. So it looks like a beautiful bottle of fragrance, but it's got instead of a little plastic roller ball, it's got a silk rose quartz and other gemstone stones. So it's kind of a nice idea, and I like the idea of bringing in unexpected fragrant products like that. And it's very super sustainable. So again, very appealing to people who are looking to be more sustainable in the way they buy things. So we're trying to sort of spread our toes a bit that way as well.
Yeah, opening up the scope a little bit. I like that. And dare I ask, what can people expect from the future of Barnes? I know as we're recording this, you're a few days out from this Barnes, so you're probably not thinking about the next one. But
well, I am actually. I'm always thinking about where we go with it, what we do, and I think I'd really like. I'm not naive. I know somebody else is going to come along, and some big guy is going to come along and do an amazing, huge fragrance fair in London, because we all know it's got so much potential. So I expect that any day, really. But what I'd really like to do with Barnes is to keep it slightly more cutting edge, slightly more, embryonic brands, new, interesting brands that are coming along that maybe haven't made the big time yet, can't afford to do something huge in London, but don't have much representation, but that we all think are just amazing or are going to be amazing. Because, we know now we can spot not the winners exactly, but we know we can spot people who really have an interesting story to tell. And I'd like to also, I think the talks and workshops are really an interesting area. People really want to know about their fragrance and they really want to play with it.
Yeah.
I mean, Sarah McCartney's workshops where she sits down and allows people to make a fragrance there, they sell out within moments. It's like a rock concert. You've got to get it in quick. Because people just loved the idea of playing about making their own fragrance. So I kind of like to sort of keep it in that field, really. Yeah. Not big, just a nice size. I'd actually also, sorry, I'm going on a bit here, but I'd actually love the idea of bringing in a little Scandinavian story or a little European story, because we know there are some amazing European brands and Scandinavian brands that are doing independent fragrances. And wouldn't it be great to have a little sort of corner of 4 or 5 Scandinavian brands that are brought over and do their thing. And maybe you can't get them in the UK apart from the Barnes Fragrance Fair. I think that would be really fun to do. So,
well, I think so, because especially as I don't know if you know this, but this Barnes Fragrance Fair does coincide with a very important religious festival in the calendar of my people, which is Eurovision.
Yes, absolutely. I will be glued. I love Eurovision. Did you watch the semi-finals?
I don't. I have a tradition where I just watch the final, but in my household we do call it Gay Christmas.
Yes,
and I've had several conversations with my husband, which have been, "You will be back in time for Eurovision, won't you?"
You can come and watch it at my house because I will be watching it for sure.
Fantastic. And I think, you could have a little Eurovision corner.
That would be fun. Now, I hadn't thought about that, Thomas, but that's a very good idea. Yes, we could do a Eurovision-themed fragrance corner.
And my final question, how well are you going to sleep on Saturday night once it's all over?
Well, I will sleep very well because I won't have slept up until Saturday night, for sure. I mean, I have very sleepless nights at the moment. But, I hope to have 2 or 3 small glasses of wine after the event closes, which will help me go to sleep and celebrate. But I will sleep much better once knowing it's been okay.
Fantastic. Well, I know it's going to be a huge success. I'm really looking forward to going because it's going to be my first Barnes.
Thanks for your support. No, I love that.
Anytime. So thanks, Amanda, for joining me.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's me again. That was recorded just a few days before the fair, and I'm now speaking to you post-Barnes, in a lovely post-Barnes glow. And I cannot tell you how good the day was. I think I will find it hard to put into words. I thoroughly enjoyed it. There were so many people there, and I really enjoyed exploring loads of brands. Some I was familiar with and some I wasn't. And it was a truly fantastic day. And for me, it really cemented my belief that perfume people are the best people. Now, I can't take you along with me for the day because I don't have a time machine, but I can give you a bit of a flavour of the day. So I'm going to share with you a few of the on-the-spot interviews I did with some of the exhibitors there. I really would have liked to have captured a bit more, but being honest, I was just having a bit too much fun and I got very distracted. Which is really not very on brand for me. ... It is very on brand for me. ADHD is a curse. Anyway, enough about me. Here are just a few snippets from the day, starting with the wonderful Maya Njai.
My brand is called Maya Njai, and I will be in my 10th year next year.
Wow.
I have 8 fragrances, and the brand started through me being curious about what scent could be like, told through my heritage, essentially. So I'm half Swedish, half Gambian, and that was the initial focus of my brand.
And a lot of your fragrances, well, all of your fragrances take inspiration from photography and the colour palettes within. Can you talk a little bit about how that came about?
The photography part is something that I've done since I was a teenager, and I went back to uni after having spent quite a few years in London. I did it as a mature student and focused on textile printing and looked back at my own heritage and documentary through photography, and then decided to feed that into my design practice, and then extended it through picking out colours and tones from these photographs. Yeah. And
it makes it really sort of accessible. You can look at the photographs and the colour palettes and get a real understanding of kind of how that links to the olfaction.
100%. I think a lot of the time it could be the other way around. You know, that perhaps maybe, they just, one accentuates the other. And for me, it was photography, colour, and then scent. And that's how I still work till this day. You know? Yeah.
And some of the photography that you've used are photographs that, you know, other people in your family have taken, and, you know, from sort of your family history, but then some are photographs you've taken sort of in your own history. And do you find that actually creating the fragrances for those, whether you've taken the photograph or not, is it any different, or does it feel the same?
Good question. I think now that I take pictures, I do consider the composition and how that could be told through scent. I'm much more obviously in control over the output and what that photo looks like. Yeah. But sometimes I take a picture with that in mind, and sometimes I find an old picture of mine where a fragrance wasn't the end goal. Yeah. And it still works. They're both like beneficial. They're just different.
Yeah, it's so inspiring. Thank you. And before I let you go, because I know you're very busy and I'm itching to get back to your stand, what's been your highlight of Barnes this year?
The highlight, there's a few. Firstly, I love the fact that there's a space for all of us to come together. All like true niche brands. Many of us know each other from, being connected and having done events before. And then also seeing all new brands coming on board. Like a new generation almost, and then connecting with customers. Yeah. Some return customers, and then some are like completely new people. This is an opportunity for all of us brands to present how we want to present. It's great to be stocked through stores, but you don't always get to tell the story the way that you might have intended to do it. Yeah. So you can just push the boat out in terms of how you do it. Yeah.
Absolutely, there's an authenticity to it here, isn't there, I think. Yeah. And finally, just if people are interested in what you're doing, because I know you do lots of stuff as well as fragrance, you do workshops. Yeah. Where can I find more information about you and your brand?
So they can find me at mayanjai.com, MAYANJIE, and I have my perfumes there, so my range, and then there is a workshop section, and I host workshops in my studio on Rivington Street in Shoreditch. And usually monthly, and it's a really friendly, easygoing atmosphere. Some people know about fragrance, others know nothing. Really just a mix of people, and it's really enjoyable. You take your own perfume with you, and you have newfound knowledge of what perfumery is and how to shop for it, and all of those things.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
It's a little red light.
It's fume chat. No, I'm joking. Oh, good old days. I'm here with Nick Gilbert, as you can probably tell. Hi, Nick.
Hi.
Is this your first Barnes, second Barnes,
third Barnes?
Third Barnes.
Yes, and what a day it's been.
Yes. So you're here with Eau de Bougie, showcasing your wares, your fragrances, and your candles.
Yes, indeed.
For people who don't know Eau de Bougie, can you tell us a bit about it?
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Yes.
Not that you've done this spiel at all today.
I've repeated myself. So with Eau de Bougie, the whole kind of idea is really that we are creating or thinking of fragrance as theatre for the nose, and that fragrance is partly performance and partly a participatory art form. So art that people are wearing, and when you're actually wearing it, then it's a complete piece of art. Okay. So that's where we're kind of coming from with the brands, and we think of each of our fragrances as really sort of scenes or maybe play settings that you are playing the main character in.
Okay. Fine. And you've got now 5 fragrances?
Yes, 5 fragrances and a couple more ready to go. But
ooh. And can we have exclusives?
Nope, not yet.
No, fine.
Off mic. I'll tell you about them.
Okay.
Yes, so we have 5 fragrances, which are Inferno. Our most recent launch is inspired by the myth of Persephone through retelling. So very bright, vibrant, citrus floral with a smoky, resinous twist at the base. Ooh. with fumon scents, which is this fabulous pyrogenated incense material. Verdant, which is our sci-fi future green. Yep. So the plants have taken over.
Obsessed.
Growing up the concrete structures, and you've got this bright, fresh spectrum of green. So lots of different textures and tonalities of green. A kind of snappy cactus accord, and then a concrete minerality.
Yeah, I'm kind of the firm belief that everyone needs a bottle of that for summer.
I think it's really amazing
it's
in
mandatory.
The summer. It's really amazing in the summer. Sadly, my other half wears it, and Pia wears it. So if I'm like, well, I can't really turn around and wear this. No. Then Gilded, which is obviously my personal obsession, inspired by this feeling of golden light. So it's full of this golden metallic sensation when you first spray it, so very radiant sensation, like aldehyde, saffron, lemon, and then incense running all the way through into amber. So the way I've kind of thought about it and the way it feels to wear is as if at first you're bathed in the golden light and then afterwards it's radiating out of you.
Yeah.
Then we have queer, which is our very, very sexy leather.
Very sexy.
Very, very sexy leather.
Pornographic, I would say.
I would say so. There was a discussion about something in the copy that I wanted to say that we've decided not to say, but we've decided instead we'll say it smells like eyeing someone up in a leather bar and you know you're going home together.
Yeah.
That's what it smells
Perfect.
like. And then, did I speak about Queen?
No.
No, Queen. Okay, so Queen is our Wonderland Rose. Alice Through the Looking Glass has been made Queen. And we've got jam tarts, black tea, Wonderland Roses, and violet sort of Victoriana going on.
Delicious. And are you finding people are drawn to any one in particular today, or has it been a real mix?
It's been a real mix, actually. Like, we're obviously, I think Verdant and Inferno have been popular because of the weather. It's
sunny,
gorgeous. But people are into gilded, people are into queer, people are into Queen. So we've been selling lots of discovery sets, which has been amazing.
Yeah, that's good.
Because we know that people will turn around and buy a bottle from those.
Yes, they will do, because they'll
Please.
be like, these scents are amazing. And what would you say has been your Barnes highlight this year, before I let you go?
Seeing everybody and seeing you again.
I know.
And doing our little fume chat retrospective.
Yeah, I know. Back into the annals of history.
Exactly.
Or we should say the annals
The
of
annals
history.
of history.
For us. Nick, it's always a pleasure to speak to you. I will let you get back to your stand.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been manic, and I need to go and manic once again.
Yes, well, best of luck.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. So I'm here with Olivia from Olfactive O, which is a really exciting indie brand. This is your third Barnes, I believe?
My third Barnes.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
What keeps bringing you back?
I love being part of this incredible indie community of creatives. There are so many talented people in one room, and it's massively uplifting to feel the energy of the visitors and people who are fascinated by perfume.
Yeah, there's just such an interest. That's what I'm noticing this year. The amount of people coming through this hall to sniff things. People
Yeah.
are just so interested in fragrance.
Yeah, they want to know how you started your brand.
Yeah.
What's in the fragrance? What are the notes? Why did you make it that way? It's so much interest beyond what you would get from a traditional fragrance hall.
Yeah. And you have a really, really unique brand, Olfactive O, with some really, really beautiful fragrances. Can you tell my listeners a little bit about what your brand is?
Sure. So we are a British brand of two halves. Olfactive, which means of smell, stands for our master creative perfumer. He's a secret, anonymous. He just prefers to craft in the middle of nowhere in the north of England. And then O is me, Olivia. And I met him about 10 years ago now. I had this dream of creating personality perfumes, helping people to find beautiful niche fragrances that matched who they are. Because it's so hard to find the right one for you. Where do you start? You either go mass and follow the big advert, or you're in this like sea of niche perfume, which is amazing and creative, but you don't know where to start. So we guide people through their personalities.
Yeah, and each of the fragrances has a really distinct personality. Their names are usually in line with an olfactive family,
Yeah.
and then almost on the bottle it starts with a kind of a statement. I am X, Y, and Z. What kind of made it so important to be so, I guess, straightforward in making that statement about what these fragrances are?
I think it was we started from the position of a very complex personality, and then went through this really hard process of simplifying it into 3 key words that would guide a person in the right direction of that perfume. And we start with a mood board. What does this person do? What moments do they enjoy? Do they like hanging out with a big bunch of friends or a few key people? And that helped us build the notes and construct a really complex perfume.
And if people wanted to know a little bit more about Olfactive O, where would they find you?
They will find us in Harvey Nichols,
Okay.
on Look Fantastic, in perfumeries and boutiques around the UK, and very soon in another big retailer, which we're really excited to talk about. Can't talk about it just yet. And we are also available internationally, and hopefully soon in international retailers as well.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you.
So I'm here with Helen from Carium, which is a really interesting and unique AI solution that helps people find the right fragrance for them. Can you talk a little bit about what Carium is and what it does?
Yes, of course. So Carium is a technology that was developed originally in Japan about 4 or 5 years ago, and it's an AI technology that helps to select fragrance. We know that shopping fragrance is really difficult.
Yeah.
There's something like 3,000 new launches per year. So navigating the category, particularly if you're a little bit apprehensive, can be really difficult. And this is what this technology sets out to solve. So we're brand new to the UK market. We don't create fragrances, we're not a perfumer. We're really there to help brands and retailers to navigate the fragrance category.
Yeah. And we're just laughing because if you hear in the background, there is a very overactive, excitable dog. That's being very chatty. So how does Carrium work?
So essentially we work with either one brand or multiple brands, and we're set up to really navigate using AI, using large language technology to simplify the words that you would use to describe fragrances. So we set up with, we choose 16 fragrances as a starting point. We set those up with the perfumers so that they understand how the fragrances were created. And then we start to link this to the large language model, and it asks us a series of very simple questions. And what we really want to understand is, what do people feel when they smell fragrances? When they're not being swayed by packaging, by colours, by names, really just understand how that works. So you'll ask some very simple questions. How do you want the fragrance to make you feel? You'll pick up the fragrance, a selection of fragrances, and then you will interpret and tell the device the words that you would interpret with that fragrance. So it's not a one-way conversation of a beauty advisor describing a fragrance. It's really inviting which words, very simple words, not perfumery language, so that you really feel almost that the fragrance chooses you in the end, rather than you're choosing the fragrance.
Yeah, and that's what really struck me when I was giving it a little test earlier, was actually the language that you're being prompted to choose isn't scent language. So you don't need to have any scent knowledge to do it. It's about what it means to you, and you can interpret those words in whatever way you want.
Completely.
And you're partnering here today with 4,160 Tuesdays, and using that to kind of select some fragrances from that. Have you noticed anything like out of all the experiences you've been doing with people with those scents? Have people been drawn to certain scents, or is it all really, really different?
No, you know what? I think it's been right across, and I think that's because of the experience. You're not being kind of swayed by the name or different colours or anything like that. I think we've seen a real choice. What I would say is that one of the first questions is around how do you want the fragrance to make you feel? Confident and chic comes out quite frequently as a starting point. But after that, because of the prompts of the questions and because the AI is always learning, then it can take you in a slightly different kind of direction. So all the fragrances are proving pretty popular. So it's really interesting to watch.
Yeah, it's a really interesting technology because we were talking earlier, and you said one of the things about it is it can be used for one brand, but it can be used across multiple brands with lots of different fragrances. So I suppose it's a really exciting kind of starting point now it's coming into the UK.
Yes, it is. And we're going to be doing a pop-up in Selfridges at the beginning of June, which is very exciting. So that's our first step into the UK market. So we're really excited about that. It's moved fairly quickly, so that's really good. And the more that the technology is learning, the better the experience gets. So
Fantastic.
Really exciting.
And I think it's really refreshing to see AI being used to do something, not doing the creative side of it. It's actually just making fragrance more easy, more accessible for consumers. I think that's really great. I'm really excited to see what you do.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. I'm here with Nancy Myland, who has a beautiful fragrance brand. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Thomas. Thank you so much.
Is this your first time at Barnes?
So I've been here since its founding year, so the third year in now, and I love it. It's just always so many keyed in people to fragrance.
Yeah, and you are here almost launching a brand new look for your brand, haven't you? You had a big overhaul. Tell us a bit about that.
So it's not yet live on the website, but we are on the cusp, and we've been really excited to share it with everyone today. It's the combination of a lot of work and trying to make it look as beautiful as possible, really, and all come together as one collection, because I've been building it so slowly as a collection, very thoughtfully, stone by stone, and so it's nice just to sort of group them all together in one harmonious look, and we're very happy, me and the team.
It looks fantastic.
Thank you.
And for listeners who perhaps don't know your brand, can you tell us a bit about who you are and where you come from?
So, my journey in perfume started in the sort of early 2000s, and I was working for Anastasia Brosler. So my background is very much bespoke perfume. So I really care that everyone has a unique expression of a perfume on their skin. So I only really design perfumes where I think that's happening, that someone is bringing something, their own unique biochemistry to the impact of the perfume. So yeah, it's been a long journey of kind of sort of achieving that within a ready-to-wear collection as well, by using lots of naturals.
Yeah, fantastic. And you're hot off your nomination at the Fragrance Foundation Awards for Lupin Meadow.
That was so fun. It was so, I felt very honoured to be part of everything, and it was so great to sit up there with like other really big brands and everything, and just kind of position it just where it should be, really.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It felt right.
Very deserving nominee. It's a beautiful fragrance.
Thank
and
you.
just before I let you go, because I know you need to get back to your stall,
No problem.
what's been your highlight of Barnes this year so far?
I know it sounds corny, but I just think it's the people every time. Just they come and they tell me, last year I bought your jasmine, I wore it for my wedding this year. You know, just all these stories that loop back, and I just think, everyone's stories and connection around it always gets me with perfume. I just love it. I can listen to them all day. So I think it's that, and I think it's just people who are so zeroed in on perfume. Passionate.
It's wonderful. Isn't it? Thanks so much, Nancy.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.
That's all right. So I'm here with William of Valens, which is a really unique brand. Can you tell listeners what you're here doing today?
I mean, I am so lucky, aren't we? We're soaking up the sun and showing our debut collection of fragrances, but we thought we would do a little twist. And what we've done today, and we're very lucky because it's a sunny day, is we've taken the top notes from all of the fragrances to create 3 individual ice creams. Not easy, and we worked with an incredible woman called Ruby Violet, who just is fabulous. And it's been a very interesting project. I've got to say, when I started, I was full of joy. In the middle of it, I thought, why did I do it? And now we're serving it to people and seeing their reaction. I think it's quite interesting.
And the whole idea behind Valens is quite unique. You're coming at it from working sort of in the spirits and drinks industry, so you've got a very different background. Can you talk a little bit about what's the inspiration behind your brand?
So Valens, the word valence is that relationship between atoms and molecules, and we do get a bit geeky. My background in spirits is all about just extraction of flavour through ethanol, which we have in fragrances, but we've now progressed onto kind of either concretes or supercritical CO2, and really trying to break down the boundaries of white coats and labs and demystify that wonderful engagement that happens, and really bring back a bit of provenance, identity, connection with the fragrances.
And you've got 3 fragrances currently, Spirit, Sun and Source?
Correct, yes. Spirit, mint, musk, morning fragrance, sun, fruity, floral, afternoon, personal desert island, and Source, it's after midnight, naughty things are happening, everyone's happy.
Good. And should we try some ice cream?
Absolutely, yeah. So first of all, we have Spirit, which is mint and musk. Difficult to make a musk in an ice cream. What we've done here is we've produced a very minty flecks of white chocolate, just for that decadence, trying to bring something kind of like quite interesting. What are your thoughts on that?
It's really refreshing, and I like that it's, you don't often get mint with dark chocolate, but with the white chocolate it makes it very soft and creamy. It's very light.
We then go a little bit crazy with Sun, which is kind of fruity and floral. Here we've got that big fruity citrus note, and then that basil coming through. Gourmand, Mediterranean vibes.
That's delicious. Mediterranean is such a great word to describe that. It's that sweet, savoury, because that nice licorice facet of the basil kind of brings out the citrus. It's gorgeous.
And then lastly, Source. Oud and Rose, a difficult one to replicate.
You don't normally eat oud, do you?
What we've done is we've actually started to focus more on the smoky notes. So this has got that kind of boozy, smoky kind of texture to it that we've tried to kind of like the incense.
Oh, wow.
Slightly whiskey-esque in that thing. And again, different.
A little bit peaty but light. Very nice and delicious.
Yeah.
And I wish the listeners could see how delightfully green these ice creams are, because they are
vivid,
beautifully on brand in terms of colours, aren't they? William, this is such a unique and fun idea. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you so much. Hopefully we'll see it again somewhere soon.
Brilliant. Fantastic. As you can tell from all of that, the day was a real success. Even the dogs couldn't keep quiet about how much they loved it. And you gotta listen to the dogs. They know what's up. Barnes will be back next year, and I have a sneaking suspicion that it's just going to get bigger and better every year. I know I'm just counting down the days. I'm basically going to sit in a room staring at the wall until Barnes 2026, because I'm looking forward to it that much. A massive congratulations to Amanda and everyone who worked on the event. It was really, really special. And as Sharon Whiting, who was the PR for the event, said at the end of Day Drinks, fragrance is having a moment and we are all in it. And you, dear listener, are in it too. I'll put all of the @ and contact info for the guests that were in today's podcast in the show notes for you. And I'll be back next week with another episode. This time, an interview with Gurpal Singh Sahota, perfumer and founder of Khushbu Perfumery. Until then, you can follow me on Instagram at Making Sense Make Sense. I'll see you soon.